Your competitor just shipped 3 campaigns while you were waiting for one landing page to get approved. They're not working harder. They've just fixed 5 specific workflow problems that you probably still have. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a quick kind of self-check. By the end, you'll know exactly where you're stuck, and you can grab a free AI Readiness Scorecard Pack with this deck that I'm going to show you and a 1-page worksheet in the description. So if you look after marketing or design for a small or mid-sized company, this is for you. Maybe you're the head of marketing. Maybe you own the business and you are the marketing department. You've probably tried ChatGPT, probably an image tool, maybe some sort of video thing. And some of it's been fun, but some of it has been like just hallucinated stuff and you just had to play cleanup. But if you're honest, the work still feels pretty similar to how it did before. The results are unreliable. Same bottlenecks, same approvals, same, sorry, this is still waiting on someone. What I see is a lot of teams saying, we're doing AI because people are poking at tools while the actual workflow itself hasn't really changed. Your best people are getting frustrated and your bigger competitors have already fixed this 6 months ago. So let's figure out exactly where you are. Here's how this works. I'll give you 5 signs that you're not quite ready for AI yet. And for each one, you can score yourself from 0 to 2. 0 means, okay, this is painfully true for us. 1 means, yeah, sometimes true, sometimes not. And 2 means we're doing pretty well here. So write down your scores as we go. And at the end, we'll add them all up and I'll give you an idea of what kind of level you're at, and then we'll go through 3 moves that you can try this week. So the first sign is that the first drafts still take about a week, or maybe 4 or 5 days. Think about a straightforward campaign, a couple of social posts and a landing page, or a simple email sequence. From the moment someone says, we need this, how long is it before there's a first draft for you to start improving? If the honest answer is around a week, AI isn't really doing what it could be doing. So ask yourself 2 questions. 1, when a brief comes in, is there a clear path from idea to AI-assisted draft to human edit? Or does it just bounce around in chats and meetings for a few days? 2, does AI create that first rough draft as a habit, or only when somebody remembers that there's a tool that exists and that they can use? On teams that have fixed this, the first draft time has dropped down from just under a week to no more than a day. Same people, same brand, different process. So score yourself. If 1 week to first draft is normal, give yourself a 0. If some projects move quickly and others drag, give yourself 1. And if you regularly see first drafts inside a day, give yourself a 2. The second sign is every piece still starts from a blank page. If your writers and designers are staring at a white document or an empty artboard every time you start something new, that's another clue. AI's easiest win is giving you something imperfect but editable. So look at your week. How often are you recreating similar pieces from scratch, like social posts that follow the same pattern? Newsletters that share the same kind of structure, sales slides that tell the same story over and over again. If you're rebuilding those from 0 every time and AI isn't at least giving you a few quick starting options, you're leaving time and energy on the table. So again, 2 questions. Do you have any shared starting prompts or templates for your team? Or is it just everybody just kind of does their thing? Secondly, do people know which parts should always be written by humans, like the core story and key marketing language, and which parts are fine for AI to rough out? Score yourself. If it's a blank page every time, that's a 0. If a few people have their own private tricks, but there's no shared system, that's a 1. If most of the time you're starting from AI-generated options and then editing and perfecting them, then give yourself a 2. The third sign is approvals still drag for days. You might be producing drafts faster, but they still sit in somebody's inbox for 9 days waiting for vague feedback like, make it stronger, make it pop. It doesn't matter. This is secretly the biggest time sink in most teams. Think about your last couple of campaigns. How long did it take from good first draft to approved and ready to go? If it's still a week or more for simple assets, AI hasn't touched the bottleneck that really hurts a lot of teams. Look at two things. First, do you have clear rules for good enough to approve for common asset types? Or are you stuck in endless polishing because everyone has a different picture in their head of what it should look like? Second, when you give feedback on AI-assisted work, is it specific enough that someone can fix it in one pass, or does it send people back to square one? On projects where this is working, approval time has dropped from around 9 days to more likely 3. Same stakeholders, just clearer drafts and clearer rules. So score yourself again. If approvals drag past more than a week, that's a 0. If sometimes it's quick and sometimes not so much, that's a 1. And if most straightforward assets can be approved within a few days, give yourself a 2. The fourth sign is nobody owns the how we use AI in marketing and design. So in a lot of teams, AI lives in private browser tabs or just single conversations with ChatGPT. One person uses it as a tool for headlines. Someone else uses it as a different tool for visuals, and there's no shared brain. And when somebody leaves, they take all the good prompts with them. So ask yourself this. If a new hire joined tomorrow and asked, how do you guys use AI here? Could you point them to a short living document that says, for this type of work, we use this tool. Here are the prompts. And here's roughly what good looks like. Or would you say, ask around. Everyone has their own way. Another question, is there a clear owner for improving how you use AI in your team? Not a fancy title on a slide, a real person who feels responsible for making it less chaotic over time. If AI is everyone and no one's job, you're not ready to add new tools. You're ready to choose an owner. No shared guidelines and no owner, that's a 0. Some loose notes and an unofficial owner or an AI champion of the office, give yourself a 1. And if you've got a clear person who is the owner of your AI strategy and a simple playbook that people actually use, give yourself a 2. The fifth sign is that AI creates more cleanup than it saves. This is the one that just kills enthusiasm and kills trust in AI as well. Think about the last few times you used AI at work. Did it genuinely save time? Or did it spit out something off-brand, generic, or kind of weird that took ages to fix? Did you end up thinking, I could have just done this faster myself? So another 2 questions. Are there people trained to give the tool a half-decent brief, like clear audience, a clear goal, and examples? Or are they just typing things like, write me a caption and hoping for the best? Another question is, do you have a simple quality check in place so AI doesn't repeatedly end up making stuff that makes you look confused and off-brand and like you don't know what you're doing? If your gut feeling is AI mostly creates extra cleanup, you're still in the experiment phase, not the ready phase. If AI mostly slows you down, that's a 0. If it's hit and miss, but sometimes genuinely helpful, 1. And if most of the time it's actually saving you time and giving you better options, you get a 2. Okay, now add your scores up. You should have a number between 0 and 10. If you're somewhere between 0 and 4, you're what I would call an AI dabbler. You've tried tools, you probably have a few prompts that have worked well, but your workflows don't really depend on AI anywhere. If you're a 3 or a 4, you're probably feeling that gap between we have tools and the work actually moves faster. The good news is that gap is fixable. So your next move isn't to buy more tools, it's to get one tiny part of the process working properly. If you're between 5 and 7, you're an emerging team or an emerging business. You're getting real value in certain places, usually because one person has figured out like a nice way of working with AI. So if Steve left tomorrow, you might realize that half of your AI capabilities was just in his ChatGPT chats. So your next move there is to turn those strategies into shared workflows everyone can use. If you're between 8 and 10, you're pretty ready and doing pretty well. You've got some repeatable workflows and you probably feel the benefits in speed and volume. Your next move is better measurement and a bit more structure. So you can say, AI helps us ship more and work better, rather than just, it feels pretty helpful. So wherever you've landed, this isn't a report card. It's just a map. So now you know roughly where you're standing. Let's finish with 3 things that you can try this week, whatever tools you're using, whatever tools you already have. First thing that you can do is just list your low-hanging fruit. Take 5 minutes and write down 5 marketing or design tasks that your team does every week. Keep it boring and practical, like weekly social posts, turning a blog or a video into an email, updating sales slides, resizing visuals for different channels, whatever's easy and common. Then circle the one that is the most simple, repeatable, and low risk. That's your first candidate for a proper AI-assisted workflow. The next thing that you can do is design what I call an AI sandwich for that one task. So that just means write out something like a 5-step process. For example, clarify the input. Who is this for? What's the goal? What key points or assets do you already have? Use your AI tool to draft 3 quick options based on that input. You or someone on your team picks the best one and edits it into something that you could actually send. Optionally, ask AI to adapt that edited version into 1 or 2 extra formats. For example, a short caption or a trimmed version for another channel. Save the brief, the prompt, and the final version somewhere people will actually find it next time. This can be a simple shared doc or a folder, no fancy system required. And your third move is measure one simple thing before and after. So for that one task, choose a single metric for the next couple of cycles. So for example, time to first draft or the number of good assets that you can create in a certain amount of time. And write down the baseline this week. Then run your workflow for the next 1 or 2 cycles and write that number down again. If it improves, great. If it doesn't, that tells you that the bottleneck is somewhere else, which is also useful. So if you want a 1-page version where you can score all of those 5 signs and list your low-hanging fruit, sketch your AI sandwich, and write down the metric that you want to track, that's exactly what's in the worksheet inside the scorecard pack. If you repeat this across 2 or 3 tasks, you've basically started your own mini AI readiness audit. And if you'd like all of the questions and steps from this video in one place, there's the link in the description to the download below for the AI Readiness Scorecard Pack. You'll get this entire deck plus the 1-page worksheet, so you don't have to force this video onto anyone else. And if you go through that and realize that you'd like an outside pair of eyes on your marketing or design workflows, there's also a link to book a short call with me. We'll look at where you're stuck, what tools you're already using, and I'll tell you honestly whether a deeper AI readiness audit is worth doing for you or not. If you scored under 6, download that scorecard pack right now, not later, now. And fix your lowest scoring area this week. And that's how teams actually change, not by watching more videos. Then just go and fix one part of your workflow. That's how this starts to become real. All right, guys, I hope this was useful, and I didn't mean to be so stern. I just see so many areas that people waste their time on, and AI is only getting better. So hit subscribe if you'd like to see more of this kind of stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.